Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be looking at animation inside of Photoshop, and this is quite exciting. There's some really great tools that I've been exploring in the past few weeks and I want to share with you. So we're going to use animation as part of your current project to help you communicate all the depth to which you've explored your research and how you are responding to the brief. And animation is an excellent way to communicate ideas quickly and succinctly, but also to add a layer of narrative and maybe emotion to the communication of your project. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different techniques inside of Photoshop. So you can see here I am inside of Photoshop. So you know that you get the Adobe software free as being part of the university, which is good, and Photoshop is a real powerhouse for working on your visuals. But often people don't think of it for animation. So I've opened up a floor plan here which I'm going to use as part of an animation, and I'm going to change the workspace first of all. So I'm going to go to Window, Workspace, and I'm going to change from Essentials to Motion, and that changes the whole workspace to be more useful for animation. And one of the things it does is it adds the timeline to the bottom of the screen. Now you don't need to change the workspace, but it's a good thing to do. If you want the timeline and you want to check where that is under Window, all of the different panels are available here, and you can see timeline is ticked. So we have our timeline. So we're going to start by creating a very simple animation showing our user or our archetype travel through our floor plan. And to do that, we're going to click Create Video Timeline. In the drop down, you do have the option to create a frame animation, but I'm just going to create a video timeline. Okay, so when I press this, you can see here is my timeline, and I can use this little handle here to change how large that is within my timeline panel. There it is, and we're going to do a very simple animation here. But before we get started, I'm going to click on the menu so that I can check the frame rate. So at the moment my timeline frame rate is 30 frames per second, which is excellent if you are working generally within film and TV, or you might even be working at 60 frames per second or something like that, which gives a much smoother animation. But to start off with, I'm going to go all the way down to 4 frames per second. Keep it nice and simple so that we can understand the concepts involved. So I'm going to press OK there, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit on my timeline again. Another thing that we need to do is add a new layer that I'm going to do all the animation in. So my timeline at the moment is always got this this floor plan on the background. So I'm going to go to Layer, and we're going to choose Video Layers, and we're going to do New Blank Video Layer. So that creates this blue layer here, and this is something that I can draw on, and it's going to change from frame to frame. Now you can do this with a mouse, but I would recommend a tablet. I'm using a very cheap tablet. It's a Wacom One, which you can get for between £30 and £50. But you don't need it yet, but you might want to do more sketching on computers, and it's a very good option. And I'm just going to draw with the brush tool. And I'm just going to start to draw a line. Let's select a color, but before I do, I just want to check that this image, the mode of this image, is set to RGB, which is the best for video stuff. So don't merge, that's fine. Okay, so now I've got a nice red color, and I can draw a line nice wobbly line like that. Control Z to undo if I want to do that. Now other things that are going to help me as I draw each frame of this animation is to turn on onion skins, which is going to let me see a little bit the frame before and the frame after. And also I want to enable the timeline shortcut keys, so I can use a key to quickly jump from one place to the other. So I'll use my arrow keys to skip across frames. Okay, so we're just going to show the user travel through the space with this red line. So I'm just going to draw a red line, something like this. Hit my right arrow key, you can see that it's faded, and that means I'm now drawing the next frame, and I can keep doing that. They're going to come around here, and so with frame-based animation you're just drawing each frame, okay, and this can take some time. You can imagine, especially if it had more frames per second, it would definitely be slower. And sometimes once you've established the idea of what you're looking for, it's worth doing those extra frames to create just the right effect. Okay, so we've got something like this. Just keep drawing. Oh, there we go. So the user's travelling around here. Just a few more. Now you might have some rooms on your plan, so it would be you'd be able to show people travelling from one space to another, and that'd be really good. Just draw one more, I think, and I think that's it. Okay, so I've got a simple frame animation, and if I want to press play, I've got a play button just down here, and we can play the animation, and you can see there it is with the onion skins. Okay, so we can turn the onion skins off. Oh, sorry, go back to the menu and enable onion skins, so that's off now. You can also press space on your space bar and that will play your animation as well. So you can see how a blank video layer on your timeline is really great if you want to draw in different parts of your animation. You want to show different things move and all that sorts of stuff. Okay, so moving on from there, let's look at stop frame animation. So I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to show you this folder here. Emily and myself, we took loads of photographs to create a stop frame animation. So you can see these little frames here. Let's have a look at the side panel. You can see that there's photo after photo. Now, little tip that would be really useful for you. I was using an iPhone to take my photographs, and it was set to the HEIC or IEC file format, okay, which I had to convert them all to JPEGs for this to work. Okay, so hopefully if you do take photographs with a camera or your phone, make sure that you are taking them as JPEGs. So if you have a set of JPEGs and they're all sort of numerically listed one after the other, we can use these to make a stop frame animation. All you have to do is select the first image in the list and highlight, just check this little box here. It says image sequence, and if you do that, press open, you can choose the frame rate. I'm going to stick with that 4 frames per second, press OK, and you can see we have yet another animation. And if I press spacebar, you can see here is our animation, and you can see everything working together really well. And we can take all of these things further forward, and we can apply maybe a store front to the image. So let's try this with another one. Let's get rid of this and let's go File, Open, and in this one let's go to Part 2 and have a look at these photographs. So I'm going to select the first one, make sure I select the sequence, press Open, click OK. Here's our stop frame animation. That works well, but we can enhance this a little bit, and we can do that by adding a storefront. Let's go File, Open, Recent, Storefront. There we go. So we're going to add this storefront, and we're going to do that by selecting everything, Control A, Control C to copy, and then we're going to go over here and paste, Control V. Okay, so now we have our storefront, but you can see actually it's hanging onto the end, so we need to bring that into its own video layer. So I think what we need to do that is bring that outside of this one, and now it's on top. Fantastic. So you can see inside of your layers you can control which layers are animated, what sits on top of the other. Okay, so I'm going to drag this out so that it's for the entire animation, and then I'm going to press Control T, which is our free transform tool, and I'm going to use the Control key just to stretch these lines just down to the bottom so that this fits as if it was the actual storefront. So let's get that lined up just like that. Get that top corner going in there. Drag that out a little bit and press Enter to confirm. And now if we run the animation, you can see we're able to add drawn elements or things that weren't there in the original photograph to our animation. And I think that's a really good effect. Okay, so if we wanted to take this a little bit further, let's open up another project. So I've got one called Animation, okay, and this is where I'm combining lots of layers, okay, and one of the things that I've got here is I've added a soundtrack. So if I press play, you should be able to hear the animation. And you can see that several elements are put together. Okay, so we're going to cover a lot of these things in the session on Monday, so I look forward to seeing you there. But I'll show you how to move things, how we make things fade in and out, which is really fun. Okay, so we'll be going through all these options. You can see the stop frame animation in there with the drawn elements. And then also in the session we'll be talking about how do you render these videos out ready for your submission, which is a very easy process because all you have to do, I think, is, let's have a look here, render video. Yeah, in the menu in the top right corner of the timeline we have render video, and you'll be able to export your video or a section of your video to be H.264, which is sort of a standard YouTube format. So I've got H.264 and we can save that file out, and then you can share it with the world, or you could submit it as part of this unit. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Monday, and we'll have lots of fun doing animation in Photoshop. Bye.